Hi YouTube, this is Sonic Geometry, and I'm here today to show you some techniques that I use in Ableton. Today I'm going to share one of my favorite techniques, and it's how to make your beats that you produce electronically to sound really lifelike and funky and have them, give them a lot of groove and character so that they don't sound like, your normal, very quantized sounding electronic beats. We're going to use two techniques. The first of which is Ableton's drums to MIDI converter, and we just convert the audio of a MIDI clip of drum sounds to a MIDI clip to a MIDI clip that we can put on any of our drum tracks. The second technique that we're going to use is Ableton's Groove Engine to extract a groove from that, and we're going to use all this data to apply to all of our clips in this set to make our beats, and we can also make all our synths sound nice and groovy and funky. So the first thing that I'm going to do is record a beat. I'm just going to beatbox. Now, you don't have to be a good beatboxer. You just need to be able to get some different sounds for kick, snare, and hi-hat, because Ableton will sort of figure out which one's which. You can have anything basic as a kick drum, like anything high for a hi-hat, like a like kind of a TS sound, and for a snare, anything that's just mid-rangey, like a so any sound like that. You can put those together and you can beatbox them. For this, you can also use if you have like an acoustic drum beat, or if you are if you're a drummer and you just want to record an acoustic beat. Again, the audio doesn't have to be good. Ableton just has to be able to differentiate between kick, snare, and hi-hat. So let's record this beat. I'm going to use the metronome. So let's record that beatboxing. All right, we got to pick just a part of it that we like, that we want to use. Doesn't have to be very long. Let's see how this sounds here. All right, that might make for some weird MIDI notes when we convert it, but let's just see how it sounds, because I kind of like the rhythm at the beginning there. So convert drums to MIDI. And what we did there is we right-clicked on the audio clip that we wanted to convert, and we scroll down in this option menu to convert drums to new MIDI track. Then we'll go over here and see what it got. Okay, so it did get that all as kicks, which I like. But what we have to do now is, because this usually doesn't record exactly the way we like, we have to mess with it. But let's listen to it and see how it sounds. All right, so we can just kind of leave that for now. I think that's all right. The rhythm gets a little messed up towards the end of the bar, but we'll fix that later. I really liked the 16th notes that we get at the beginning of this. Let's listen to how that sounds when we loop it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop clip. So we right click on the audio clip again and we crop it. Because I just want that little bit of it. And then we have that. So what I'm going to do is then right click again and go down to extract groove. So then it shows up over here in the groove pool, and the way we open that is we hit this button. That'll open and close it when this sidebar is open. So make sure that's open, and we also want to make sure that our global groove amount is something. Default is 100, so let's start with 100. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to this MIDI clip. Now I'm just going to duplicate it, because we want to be able to save this if we want to go back to it, because that has all the unquantized MIDI data. This one, let's quantize everything. So I did select all, Command A, Control A for Windows users, and then I'm going to do Command Shift U or Control Shift U, and that brings up our quantization menu. Now let's see, 1/16th. Let's adjust the note. We'll just leave it at the start there, and 100%. So what this will do is it'll quantize everything 100% to 16th notes. So let's see what that does for us. Let's listen. So obviously when we compare it to the unquantized version, it's much straighter. Now I know it seems like we're backtracking here, but this is going to help us keep the consistency across the board while still having a nice groove. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to groove here in the clip with that MIDI clip selected, and I'm going to select 7.2 audio, which is the groove that we just recorded, and we'll see how that makes it sound. You can hear that it already has added a little bit of swing to it. And if we want to see exactly what that groove is doing, we can drag it over to a MIDI track and we can see inside it, you know, where different notes are falling, so that it shows us that it has these 16th notes that are a little bit behind, but, you know, it varies it in different places. And if we want to change that groove at all, you can actually just go in here to the MIDI clip and, you know, maybe we want to drag this so it's like right at the beginning there. You can go in and edit your different notes, and then we can just make another groove out of this MIDI clip. So say I wanted to have, you know, say I wanted this to be a little bit different. So we can listen to it on. So I changed it up a little bit. I moved things around and, you know, made it kind of a little bit more consistent. I kind of gave it more of the swing that I want it to have. And then I can actually just drop this MIDI clip over here. We have a new groove. So I'm going to delete this old one. And then we can apply that to anything. So let's apply it to this MIDI clip, the quantized one. We'll see how that sounds. And you can hear it's got its own unique swing. It sounds a little bit different than the kind of the factory swing that you have in there. And you can always, you know, record different audio clips, make new grooves, and make things, you know, go together with each other in a different way. One thing you can also do is you can like make your own beat just by, you know, clicking in sounds. So I can take that and listen to it. So I just click that all in. It sounds very uniform and kind of dry rhythmically. But then when I add in the groove, we can hear that it gives it a little bit more swing. So without, with. And you can hear that it's not like a particularly like great difference, but it's not a big difference, but it having that little bit of extra flow to your beat is going to make it sound much more natural and much more human. Where it starts getting interesting is when you're, adding it to other elements in the production. So let's go here on this MIDI track and let's add in a synth. Just a little melody or something in there. And then we can apply our groove. And it gives a little bit more funkiness. And you can continue to do this with, all your MIDI clips that you have in there. Maybe you want to have something that's more of like a high octave arpeggio or something. And then we'll go to that clip. And the groove is already applied since we just copied it over from there. And it continues to add, you can continue to add parts, but they'll all sort of fit in with that groove. All right, so there you have it. And then you can add in other parts, like you can take a shaker, throw that in this audio clip, and then we'll take a little part of this, and we'll see how that sounds. So we can just select all, Command Shift U to quantize 100%. Now we definitely want to use 100% for this because we're going to quantize it and then we're going to apply the groove. So we're going to first tighten it up and then loosen it up. And then what we want to do is apply the groove. And we can hear how it kind of swings a little bit more. So listen to the difference. Yeah, so we have that quantized shaker added there. Let's pull out these hi-hats so we can hear that, how that sounds a little bit better. And so again, you can hear that as we add in parts, they maintain this kind of bouncy swing, but we can make that consistent throughout the entire production using grooves.